All right, let's go ahead and take some time. We're going to get into this week's best performers in the fantasy world.
This week's Fantasy Stud Muffins.
All right, guys, let's start at the quarterback position where all quarterbacks perform well.
Basically.
I mean, it pretty much is like that on a week-to-week basis. It's exactly why we say quarterback is a streamable position. Obviously, you have to kind of pick correctly, but it's becoming to the point where, look at this list. Kirk Cousins is at the top of it.
Yeah,
okay?
you had asked. Hey,
I had asked to start him.
Yeah, you're like, is he a streamable option this week? I'm like, no.
Brian Hoyer's a better option.
Well, Brian Hoyer, despite being terrible, didn't do bad at all either.
No.
He was the number 7 quarterback.
Anybody watch the London game?
I did.
E.J. Manuel, how did he look in that game?
Oh, my goodness. E.J. Manuel, he was my stream of the week. We changed it from Landry Jones if you had listened through the week. And E.J. Manuel was maybe the worst quarterback I have ever seen in that first quarter. I think he gave the ball away 3 times.
Didn't matter.
Was it the second quarter? Didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
He finished right now as the number 12 quarterback, a quarterback 1. I expect Carson Palmer to knock him off of there tonight. But, yeah, I mean, you want to know who those guys who finished ahead of? Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan. Russell Wilson. So Eli Manning, I mean, you know.
Yeah, the list goes on. And so Kirk Cousins had a great game. He had a rushing touchdown and 3 passing touchdowns. Is that correct?
You like that?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, go watch that.
You like that?
Go watch that Vine of Kirk Cousins after the comeback win. Impressive win. Biggest comeback in Washington history, 31-30 at the buzzer. Tom Brady, obviously, in our league format, he's been over 30 points every single game he's played. Just consistency has been through the roof. 355 and 2 and a rushing touchdown.
Doing it in a game like this, completely 100% matchup proof. You cannot sit him.
Ryan Tannehill.
This is the guy I'm excited to talk about.
You mean my start of the week?
I
told the world to start him, and he decided. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna just take care of all my points in the first 30 seconds of the game. 4 touchdowns, 282 yards, 1 incompletion.
His receivers did help a little bit.
Oh, I agree.
I think he threw for about 20 yards in the air.
It's debatable whether his receivers helped him or Houston helped him.
But so let's take a look at the Dolphins. They fired their coach, Joe Philbin. They brought in Guns Mahoney to take over. Man, that guy is just he is a monster.
You know they're serving Campbell's soup everywhere now in Miami.
Chunky?
Well, yeah, Chunky would be better. Yeah.
So they come back out of the bye, 2 weeks, weaker opponents, but they have destroyed them.
Yeah.
Are we buying back into Ryan Tannehill and crew of the Dolphins?
I bought back in a week ago. I loved Miami at home. I loved Tannehill. You had Lamar Miller as your start of the week, and I liked the Miami defense in that game.
If only Lamar Miller could play 4 quarters with this new offense. They were destroying him so bad last week that he sat.
You're not complaining about.
No, I'm happy because I'm Mr. Lamar Miller coming into the season.
We'll get to him.
Yeah, all right.
But Phillip Rivers had a good game.
So are you buying into Tannehill moving forward?
I'm buying into Tannehill in the right matchup.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm not going beyond that right now. Andrew Luck, I was playing against him in a league. It was looking great. He was at negative points. There's something wrong with the Colts, and yet he ended with 333 and 3.
Thanks to defenders falling down.
Yeah, and then Derek Carr had that was a fun game to watch. I love,
wow.
The Raiders. It used to be like you'd want to start a defense against them. I don't want to start a defense against the Raiders anymore. Amari Cooper is a machine. Michael Crabtree is great for a number 2 type of guy. You're lining up. Cooper destroyed Verdette, right?
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
and who coming into this week had been one of the top corners, and I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, he did.
Absolutely. He went up and had a great long catch, but a lot of the yards. It was so brilliant. I mean, they came off of a bye week, and their screen game was so well developed with blockers going downfield.
Well, that was
I mean, it was
that one
taking
big play was huge.
No, there were 3. There were 3 super long screens that were fantastic through that game. I'm telling you, I didn't think much of Bill Musgrave as an offensive coordinator or Del Rio as a head coach, but coming off of a bye, they exploited exactly what needed to be exploited. I was very impressed.
I'll say this though. You add 3 minutes to the clock, they lose the game.
I was going to say, did you guys see the ceremony after the game?
No.
No, play the audio. Play the audio.
I just did.
No, ladies and gentlemen, weighing in at 228 pounds, standing 6'5" tall, Phillip Rivers is your new ultimate garbage fantasy points quarterback.
Oh, what a performance from Phil and Mr. Woodhead.
What a half.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers had a brutal game, and yet 336 and 3. So, basically, here's the situation in fantasy. We'll move on to wide receivers, and that was very funny because it's true. Phillip Rivers, garbage time master of this game, which
back-to-back
weeks.
weeks.
Andrew Luck was competing with him in the final bout, by the way. But the thing about it is this. If you have a fantasy quarterback and he plays well, he gets you fantasy points. If you have a fantasy quarterback whose team gets horribly down and he's not pulled, he gets you fantasy points. The way that you don't get fantasy points is when you get that Matt Ryan middling kind of 10-7 game where the game's close. And, my point is this. Your odds of opportunity for your quarterback are that he will score almost in every game because Brian Hoyer is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Josh McCown's not a great quarterback. These are guys that week after week put up numbers, not necessarily every single week, but very often, even Kaepernick, those guys. So, all right, wide receiver stud muffins. T.Y. Hilton, 4 for 150 and 2.
All he needs, T.Y. Hilton, all he needs is the defensive back who is covering him in single-man coverage to fall down.
Yeah, I don't know how you're single-manning T.Y. Hilton in a game like that, but whatever. Nate Washington had 9 for 127, 2 touchdowns. I want to ask about this because Cecil Shorts was back. Washington came back this week. Hopkins didn't have his through-the-roof game. What do we expect going forward from the Nate Washington, Cecil Shorts, Houston wide receiver core?
Going forward, I expect what we've seen before this game. There was great coverage on Hopkins, and then all the targets started going Nate Washington's way. I don't think that that's going to continue, especially as Cecil Shorts gets healthy.
All right, Jarvis Landry had a big game. Mike Evans had a big game. Amari Cooper had the big game we talked about earlier.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, that's the guy that excites me going forward, especially if anything is serious with Vincent Jackson. Mike Evans, Andy's giving me a look because I have been down on him, and yet I traded for him this week, started him, and it was glorious. So thank you, Mike Evans. I hope that you have a great future with Jameis Winston.
We don't have the time to get into the Mike Evans conversation right now.
Sure.
Stefon Diggs, baby. 6 for 108 and a touchdown. All you need is your eyeballs.
Not just
that was an amazing.
A legitimate touchdown.
Full extension over the shoulder, diving into the end zone. He double moved his guy. There was no one within 50. I've heard on I don't forget what station. There's a difference between open and uncovered. He had gotten to the point on that route where he was uncovered. And Stefon Diggs, man, just watch him play.
I have not seen a guy this year make more, like the amount of miraculous catches, and that's why you want him in Minnesota because Teddy Bridgewater isn't playing good. You don't have to make
He played good this week.
Well, I'm saying you don't have to make miraculous catches when the ball's put on you, but Stefon Diggs has made so many catches that if he was targeting someone else there, if he was targeting Charles Johnson or Mike Wallace, they would not have caught.
I have to agree with you because Wallace had like 9 targets last week, and he caught 3 passes. So Stefon Diggs is getting separation. He's young. He's a rookie. He's making plays, and he had his first touchdown this week. Robert Woods, we talked him up big time, 9 for 84 and a touchdown. Just plain old opportunity. It just seemed like with no Watkins, no Harvin, and what was going on there, garbage time. What really wasn't garbage time. It was comeback. It was comeback time, and Robert Woods had a very good game. So let's talk running backs. Lamar Miller's the headliner, 14 for 175, 1 touchdown, 3 for 61, and a screen pass touchdown through the air, and then he got to rest because that game was a blowout. They figured some things out. Giving the ball to Lamar Miller is part of it.
Giving the ball to one of your best offensive players.
So Lamar Miller moving forward, will he? From this point on in the season, do you consider him in running back 1 in fantasy football? Is that overstating it?
No. I don't think it is, although I believe they've got a terrible matchup this week. Does anybody know who they play?
Not off the top of my
head.
they
play
is it the Patriots?
Yes, I believe so.
I
believe it is the Patriots. Yeah, it is. Todd Gurley, who would you rather have over Todd Gurley rest of the season?
Still Le'Veon Bell.
Okay. That makes sense. Arian Foster had a big game, 18 for 59 and 1, 5 for 66 and 1 through the air. I'm saying his name for the last time. Darren McFadden, 29 for 152 and a touchdown. honestly, I mean, I've watched Darren McFadden for years. He looked pretty good because he got downhill much quicker than he'd been getting downhill, and that's all there is to it. He also lost a screen pass touchdown on a was it a hold?
It was
I feel like it was not a hold.
It was
Something away from the ball.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I know what it was. It was when the ball was in the air. They called the guy was already blocking.
There you go.
Downfield.
So I mean,
but it wasn't.
The crazy thing about Darren McFadden is in Oakland, if you just eyeballs and looking at actual metrics, he was one of the worst running backs in the league. And it wasn't just Oakland, because Latavius Murray and other guys had some success while DMC was over there. This looked very different for Darren McFadden.
So let's talk fantasy strategy with Darren McFadden right now. He's probably unowned in some leagues. He's owned in most.
Yeah.
But the problem is people put Joey Randall into their lineup this week. People might have put Christian Michael in their lineup. However, what do you do with McFadden? If you roll him out there, are you risking 2.9 points?
I don't think you are, because I believe from that performance, I really believe that they have to move Darren McFadden into the starting role. However, their next two matchups, this coming week is against Seattle. I'm not playing any Cowboy not knowing exactly who's going to have it against Seattle. So if you've got Darren McFadden and you can get value from him, let's say there's the Joseph Randall owner and they want to just kind of hedge your bets, I would trade him. I doubt you can get value, so you can't drop him. You kind of have to hold on to him, and I don't think you can play him against.
It's all about the injury for me, and with to start the game, Joseph Randall had a couple good runs. They were to the outside, but he was gaining yards.
But has Joseph Randall ran well in the fourth quarter of just about any game this year?
No,
because Darren
but you still have
McFadden in the fourth quarter was running fantastic and doing what Dallas
but
has been wanting and looking
Darren
for all
McFadden
year.
Hasn't ran this well. I think a lot of it has to do with the Giants' rushing defense.
And regardless, I mean, if Randall's healthy, they're not giving the ball to McFadden every play of the game. I mean, McFadden either won't last it just doesn't make any sense with what they're doing. So I think he's going to be a little hit and miss, but he's the guy to own right now, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, you have to pick him up just in case Randall's out. But it's very similar to the Philadelphia situation where Ryan Matthews clearly outperformed Murray, but moving forward, Murray will still be the starting
without
running back.
question. And he should have been Matthews had a really big game on, was it 6 or 9 carries? I think it was 6 carries for 97 and a touchdown.
Man, and he looked fast.
Well, that cutback on the 63-yard touchdown was impressive.
And I was telling you guys, it's sad to me, as I've been a big Ryan Matthews fan. I know he gets hurt all the time, blah, blah, blah. But just watching, when he's healthy, he is great. He is a very talented running back, and it's sad to me that he has to be a backup.
Yeah, you said right to us at kickoff before the game, like it's a travesty that he's the number 2 there, and then you watch the game and you're just so frustrated, going, why is he the number 2 there?
Well, I don't have that perspective.
I do.
Because that perspective somehow denigrates DeMarco Murray. And I don't think DeMarco Murray's a bad runner. I think he's a great runner. And I think when Ryan Matthews has to take higher carry numbers, I mean, you don't know how that turns out. This is the classic situation where you get limited work. The defense doesn't, they don't prepare for you, and you make big plays, and then you give, I just don't think it's so black and white at all.
To me, it's the difference between Matthews and Murray. I still like Murray. I think he's good. But Murray whenever they run him to the side and his lateral movement, he looks very slow compared to Ryan Matthews. And they try and do that a lot. And I was thinking, watching it, I wonder what the success percentage of when they try and run Murray to the outside is. And they had a couple of them this past week, but it seems like it fails more often.
Losing Peters last night obviously didn't help.
Yeah,
So
that sucked.
Mark Ingram had a very impressive game, 14 for 143 and a touchdown.
And he got snaked twice.
He did?
By Robinson. Kyrie Robinson.
Oh, that's
vultured
right.
2
That's right,
touchdowns.
One of the times kind of made sense because it was after a long run. The other one was like, what's going on? Why is
one
Ingram
wasn't
not
a
in the
goal
game?
line carry, though. One was like a 10-yard carry from Robinson.
Okay, red zone.
So,
Sorry, red
yeah.
zone
He
carry.
didn't get – it wasn't a goal line steal. Another guy that fits in this category.
Oh, the garbage man.
If you were a Danny Woodhead owner, you were scared for your life. And then the fourth quarter came around, and it was just the Danny Woodhead. That was his first passing touchdown since 2013.
Yeah, he was hurt all last year.
I know. It's been a while, though.
But yeah, I agree.
All right, we need to talk tight ends before we get into the pooped in his big boy pants section. Jordan Reed, 11 for 72, 2 touchdowns, right back in the thick of things. Is he I think he's just a start
Yeah.
Right?
That's what we say. Was if Jordan Reed is healthy, you play him. It's
Fair enough.
automatic.
How about Gary Barnidge?
Wow.
Gary Barnidge, man.
Against the
Maximum-
Rams. I was so impressed.
Maximum Barnidge.
Yeah, he just kind of seems to have a baseline of catches now.
But
Rob
if-
Gronkowski, in case
if-
you haven't heard of him, he had a big game.
If McCown is out, then there could be some questions on Gary Barnidge.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, because it's who is Manziel going to target?
Well, he's targeted Barnidge in the past.
Manziel?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't done the
I
research.
mean,
on that.
not at the same level that McCown has, but Barnidge had what did he have here? Which games did McCown play?
2. I think he played the second.
Manziel played the game 2.
Okay, so game 2, Barnidge only had 1 catch. Game 3, he was 6 for 105 and a touchdown.
That was
that was-
McCown.
I thought you said game 2 and 3 was
No.
Manziel.
No,
Oh, it was only
one-
one game with Manziel?
Half of the first game and week 2 was
All right, so his
Manziel.
worst games of the year. So you're right. We'll have to monitor that pretty closely. Ladarius Green, 4 for 45 and a touchdown. He was a great guy to have grab, handcuff to Antonio Gates because he's had a good year. We talked about him on the show last week. It's kind of, oh, man, like he's still playing well. He had a 2-point conversion. And then Eric Ebron is back.
Big game.
Yeah.
And a big game, 5 for 89 and a touchdown. He was somebody who I didn't mind starting before the injury. So
He seems like the number 2 target to me for the Lions if he's healthy in there.
Well, and they don't have time to throw to Calvin Johnson.
I know I'll be brief, but I'd be remiss to not mention the fact that, Joique Bell had 7 a carry,
And 7 a reception. He
Yeah.
only worked in 7s.
3 for 21, proving his clear dominance now that he's healthy.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
let's move it on.
The question is, did he reach 50 yards? And I will even allow you to add in receiving yards.
Oh wait, we made that bet.
Yeah.
I knew I was getting wet on that bet. That would have been a great thing to have realized just now that I had won, though. So let's move it on.